Well, that's kind of sad. Hey guys, it's Steph. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about my journal collection and specifically how I am journaling right now. Journaling is a practice that has been extremely beneficial for me, and if you're thinking about maybe starting to journal, hopefully this video can motivate you to actually start. And if you have like a notebook laying around, this video can give you some ideas on how you can use it and how to get started and actually journal. Before we jump into that, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. All right, and with that, let's jump into the video. Before we jump into these journals, I want to talk a little bit about my journaling journey. Maybe if you share a similar experience with me, you can see just how much of an impact journaling can have on your life, the way it did mine. So ever since I was little, I've been super into writing. I had such an intense love for it that in middle school, I thought I was gonna go to college and major in creative writing. And obviously, things changed a little considering I'm going for musical theater. So when I was younger, I wasn't journaling, but I would take notebooks when I had a spare chance and I would like write poetry because I really liked writing poetry. I have no trace of that right now. It's not in here. I think that I tossed it all away because I do have a twin and we did share a room. So, you know, when I was younger, I kind of had this intense fear of her sneaking through my stuff because privacy was just a fantasy, honestly. So I tossed it and I can't find it. And that's sort of where my first journal keeping, in a sense, started. And I think I stopped once I reached high school up until quarantine. I wasn't really writing because I was just so busy doing other things, which is so crazy because now as a committed journaler, I know that it's so much more important to be taking that time for yourself when things are so hectic versus when things are a little calmer. So that's when quarantine hit. And when it came to alone time, it wasn't that I didn't like being alone. It was that when I did have that time, I didn't know how to spend it. So I was just bored. But yeah, I kind of just got to this weird limbo place where nothing was really exciting me about my life. I remember thinking that, oh, this is such a waste of time because nothing's happening. And you know, looking back on it, I know that the only reason that period of time was such a waste was because I was allowing it to be a waste of time. But that's another story. You know, around this time was sort of when the witchy practices and the new age spirituality started trending. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And after doing some research, I found that there is a lot of stuff that goes into it and it gets a little overwhelming sometimes. I just decided to sort of attack one thing of it first, and what I was really drawn to was astrology. And one really helpful tool for me was YouTube. I was on astrology YouTube and, you know, somehow I ended up on journaling YouTube and was like, wow, this is so cool. I'm learning a lot about it through all these people on YouTube and I'm getting all these ideas of what I can do, and I want to start this journaling thing. That's when I first decided to commit and actually keep a journal. I mostly just had like leftover notebooks from school, and the only like real notebook I had was this one. It's actually really super cute. It's like a Mickey Mouse cartoon and I got it at like Disney World. This is what the pages on the inside look like. They're green lines and they're super wide, and there's like a Mickey in the corner, which again, he's cute, but this isn't exactly the best mood setter for journaling, I would say. So definitely not ideal. If you are trying to get a notebook to journal, don't get something that takes up so much of the page. And I'm not a fan of the green either. It's just too distracting, I think, for like a serious journal. But this is the one I picked up when I decided to actually start journaling. And the first entry in here is actually April 11th, 2020. That's when I first committed to journaling, and I actually did one page reflecting on that whole day. And this actually isn't a bad format, you know, just kind of like dumping your thoughts from the day, any events that happened, just putting them onto paper so that you can like go to bed with an empty head, I think. But I only did that one day because I'm self-aware enough to know that even now I struggle with journaling daily, and I know it's something I want to do in the future. Right now it's kind of a every other daily practice, I would really like it to be a daily practice. So I know when I was first starting, it was really hard for me to just sit down and do so much writing at the end of every day. So what I started doing instead was I started making lists. So I'd put like April 13th, 2020, bad. And then I'd say all the bad stuff that happened. And I'd say good. And I'd say all the good stuff that happened, which I guess is fine. It's not my favorite format for daily journaling, but it's effective. I think it'll get the job done. I did this for about a week and a half, and then, see, I'm really bad at daily journaling. I just changed it to a dream journal, and I actually did that for a while. I wanted to keep a dream journal because I tend to have really vivid dreams, and I like to remember them because they're entertaining. And keeping a dream journal and remembering your dreams and keeping them in your brain allows for more vivid dreams in the future. And I've wanted to explore lucid dreaming for a while, and I know dream journaling is a good way to sort of get that going. So I was writing down my dreams in this journal every morning, but I changed to an app on my phone called Capture. Basically, when you wake up is when your memory of the dream is going to be most vivid. And one thing that wasn't really efficient for me was I'm on the top bunk. So if I woke up remembering a dream, I would have to like immediately get out of bed and go write it down in this journal. And it was more efficient for me to just sort of wake up, grab my phone, and then type it up real quick into that app as a dream entry, and then go back to sleep. Because usually what happens is I'll wake up in the morning from a dream, and then if I go back to sleep, I'll still have another dream. So I didn't want to force myself out of bed and when I still could have a dream later. I've developed a really nice extensive library of all these dreams that I've had, and they're all in one place. They're all in that app, and I really like using that app. Yeah, this was just very disorganized because I was just kind of like finding out what I really wanted my journal practice to look like, and I wasn't really sure. But yeah, so this is my very first journal. Like I said, I was pretty deep into astrology, self-care, journaling, YouTube, which also lends itself to law of attraction, manifestation YouTube. So I did get super into that, and I could do a whole video on that topic. While I was keeping the Mickey Mouse journal, I wanted to practice some like manifestation affirmations and stuff. So it was very disorganized. It was kind of like anything other than daily reflecting or dream journaling I just did in this, and it's super disorganized and I hate it a lot. Another one of my journals I was using at the time, I actually bought this journal. It has like a Pura Vida sticker. It's actually really super pretty, and it was totally matching the vibe I was going for. But I have no clue why I got this, because it's a bullet journal. My sister at the time was getting super into bullet journaling, and I thought maybe I could emulate that. Maybe I could bullet journal without actually bullet journaling. I don't know, but yeah, I'm not sure why I got this. Kind of a waste. So yeah, after the daily reflections stopped in the Mickey Mouse journal and the dream journaling started, I still wanted to do something daily to sort of cultivate that daily practice. And I was super into manifestation. So I started a gratitude journal in one of my old school notebooks. And it was just every day I was writing 5 things that I was grateful for. I'm using a different journal setup for gratitude currently that I'll show you guys later. But this is a really great practice because sitting down and just writing 5 things you're grateful for is just a really great mindful activity, so you're not getting into your head so much. If we have a lot of stress and all these things piling on, our brains get overwhelmed very quickly, and we tend to enter this space of like, all this is going wrong, and that's all that we're thinking about. That's at the forefront of our thoughts, and then we're in this headspace of just, my life is terrible right now. But having this gratitude journal is really awesome because even if stuff is going wrong, you know that there's still at least 5 things I can be grateful for today. So yeah, I was using this as a gratitude journal for about 2 months, and then things happened and my mental health kind of took a turn for the worse, to the point where I was just kind of too mad or too sad to journal, which again, you know, like looking back on it, I know that because I was having a harder time, I needed to journal that much more, and I wasn't. So I kind of gave up on journaling because of my mental health. So it wasn't until like December when I think winter break came along and I finally got some reprieve from online school, which I think was contributing a lot to my poor mental health. When you have a break like that, it's a really great opportunity for reflection. I just decided that I was like in this weird place and I didn't like being there, and I really wanted to do something to sort of get me out of that. So I decided to actually commit to journaling because I had tried it out a little bit and it was working. And that was sort of, you know, this disorganized, uncommitted practice that I had. And I decided that, you know, if I truly commit to this and I truly like invest in this properly, I think this could be a really good practice for me. And I think this could help me a lot. So of the 9 journals that I have used thus far, these are the 5 that I am currently using right now. So like I said, I was super into journaling YouTube and astrology YouTube and self-care YouTube, and I found this really great YouTuber. I'll put the link to her channel down below, and her name was Lavender, and she's just basically this self-improvement YouTuber, and she has her own business where she creates yearly workbooks. So after watching her videos, I really grew to like her and to trust her. So I decided to invest in her Artist of Life workbook. Here it is. It's got this really nice leather outside. It's obviously this really gorgeous yellow. And the first thing in this book that I think really benefited me is that there's a 2020 reflection, right? So it's for 2021, but you get to reflect on the previous year. For example, the very first prompt is 2020 highlights and accomplishments to be proud of. And that was super helpful because I was coming from this space of 2020 sucked. I hated this year. Nothing good came out of 2020. I never want to think about it again. And immediately after opening this book, I'm prompted to look at this year in a positive light instead of a negative light. That is just such a pinnacle of journaling in general, is to just acknowledge the bad while still acknowledging the good. Just like making a list of things that went right totally changed the way I felt about it. And I think that was really healing for me. One of my favorite quotes is that stuff isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. It was sort of like the first opportunity I had to look at it through this lens, to sort of say, I didn't have to like the year, but I do have to accept it and I do have to appreciate it. I do have to be grateful for it. So yeah, that was just super beneficial. What this does for me currently is very goal-oriented. So at the beginning of the year, you set so many goals in every aspect of your life. At the beginning of every quarter, at the beginning of every month, at the end of every month, what you're doing is you're reflecting on your goals and figuring out specific steps that you can take to actually get there. And I feel like at the beginning of 2021, this is what I really needed, because I had spent like all of 2020 just like in this weird space of wanting things to change, but doing absolutely nothing to actually change them. That being forced to like write down what I wanted and what specifically I was gonna do to get there was so beneficial. She has a weekly view, so this is for next month. It's kind of freeform because, you know, it's just 4 boxes. I decided to sort of use that to reflect on every week. So basically what I had done before, which was like writing about what happened every day, I was just doing that like every week. And I think that that weekly reflection has been the most beneficial journaling practice that I have done thus far. And this is because if I had an event that I went to on Tuesday, by the time Sunday comes around, I've already forgotten. So forcing myself to like sit down, go through my calendar, go through my Snapchat memories, what was I doing this week? And reflecting on that is just this really great opportunity, I think, to just sort of find stillness. You know, what journaling helped me realize was that before quarantine, I was just in this weird headspace of constantly doing something and having something to do, to the point where I wasn't really conscious. I think more of us do this than we realize, is this sort of autopilot way of moving through life, of just not being very mindful of it, of what you're doing, who you're doing it with, how you feel about what you're doing, and just doing it. And what weekly reflection has done, and I decide to sit down and reflect, it just pauses everything. You know, just stop, take a moment, and it just allows you to move through life in a much more mindful way. And I think that's what I appreciate the most, is that I'm more conscious about who I'm spending my time with, what activities bring me the most joy, and then I can make more conscious decisions in the future. You don't even need like a workbook like this. I like it because I have a lot of prompts here, but you can just pick up a regular journal and just, you know, like every Sunday, take time for yourself and just reflect on the week. So this is just my 2021 workbook, and I'm gonna try a different journal for the year 2022. It's going to be the Dreamy Moon's Year of Growth journal, and her journal is just designed for a bit more of a time capsule. So I think I tried to make this a time capsule with weekly reflections, even though it's made more for like goal setting. Now I've reached a point where goal setting isn't as productive for me as it used to be, and I would prefer to, you know, try having it be more of like a self-reflective, emotional journal than more so of a productive workbook. This is a great journal if you're a goal setter and you want to like accomplish things. This is definitely for you. And I'm going to try the Dreamy Moons book for next year, and that book has a bit more astrology in it, which, like I said, I'm super into astrology, so that's that. The next journal I got was this little notebook, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. I got it at the mall. It is so, so gorgeous. Oh. Wow. Anyways, it is just so gorgeous. I saw it at the mall and was like, I have to get it. And I decided that I would use it as my Beautiful Moments notebook, and I'm already smiling. This is a really special notebook. So essentially, I had been journaling more. I was being more mindful in my life. I was making more conscious decisions, and my life was getting a lot better. And there was a lot more good things happening to me. And there was a lot of moments where I would be like, wow, this is such a nice moment. I really hope I don't forget it. So I decided that I would start journaling about them. So like if I was out at the beach and I had one of those moments where I was like, this is such a beautiful moment, I would go home and I would just journal about it. I would write down what I felt, who I was with, what was happening, where I was. And this has been a really, really, really lovely practice, I think. Because now when I have these moments of like, I'm so happy I'm existing to experience this, I can feel that gratitude in the moment, and then I can go home and I can relive it and show more appreciation for it as I'm writing about it. And then when I close the book, walk away, and come back to it, I can still feel that gratitude for it. And I know I'm not going to forget it because I wrote it down. And I'll always have these super, super special memories to look back on. Like, I'm just talking about the memories. I'm not even reading about them, and I'm already like getting a little giddy because because they're just so special. So yeah, this is just a journal, a Beautiful Moments journal that is a very special place in my heart. The next journal that I am using right now is my manifestation journal. And I just bought this spontaneously somewhere because it was so pretty. Visually, it aligned with the vibes that I find manifestation to be. Like I said, I can make an entire video on manifestation, but you know, I'll just explain how I use this journal for now. So basically, I break it up into 3 sections. At the top, I have a gratitude section. In the middle, I have a release section. In the bottom, I have a manifest section. So in my gratitude section, I'm writing 3 things that I'm grateful for. This is a little different than my gratitude journal that I started back in 2020, because before I was just like making a list of things that I was grateful for. But now I'm being very mindful about writing down the phrase, I am grateful for. Writing stuff down onto paper, I feel like legitimizes it. And then in the release section, I just write down something I want to get rid of. So if I felt a little stressed that day, then I'll write, I release any stress from my body. Or if I feel embarrassed about something that I'm trying to manifest, I'll write, I release embarrassment regarding this. Because I feel like writing, I release this, and putting it down onto paper helps a lot. And then manifest, I'll just have the affirmations for whatever I'm trying to manifest. So I do use I am or I have affirmations for manifesting. And then at the bottom, I'll just write, Dear Universe, I love you, I trust you, I am you. Because I do have that belief that like we are just the universe manifested into a human form. So just like reminding me of that, I feel like really connects me more to that mindset. I'm not going to show you what's inside this book because it is very personal. But yeah, that's how I use my manifestation journal. If you want to start a journal like this, I highly suggest using a format like that so you can just get into the right mindset every time before you actually try to manifest anything. Now we have my shadow work journal. Really nice leather. It has a clasp, and I can make an entire video on shadow work and why you should be doing shadow work, but I'll just try to do a brief explanation right now. Basically, it's like working on your shadow self, which is kind of like the darkest version of yourself, or the parts of yourself that you aren't very proud of, your negative traits, your traumatic memories that are sort of, you know, holding you back from being like this best version of yourself that you can possibly be. And how I like to do shadow work is via prompts. So I have like a list of like 51 prompts on my phone. I'll try to put a link to some shadow prompts down in the description. But basically it's prompts that allow you to reflect on yourself. Like a prompt could be, what's a memory that brings you trauma? You know, what's a memory that you carry around with you and isn't benefiting you in any way? And then you can journal on that and have a real conversation with yourself about how carrying that memory around with you is affecting your life today. Now, I recently saw a video of a girl saying, keep the lessons, release the story, and move along through life because the story itself isn't benefiting you in any way. You know, I've done 2 prompts because I just got this journal, and both times have been really, really enlightening for me. And it just, you know, allows you to become a better person overall, to forgive yourself for what you're not proud of, and to release yourself from memories or past experiences that you're carrying with you that aren't benefiting you really. So that's why I really like this journal. And so the last journal, the 5th journal that I'm currently using is this. I call it my brain dump journal. This one is allowed to be disorganized. See, before I had the issue with having disorganized journals and not wanting that, but this is just sort of a brain dump journal. This is everything that this doesn't do for me. And I really wanted to get a physical journal for brain dumps because I've sort of been using my iPhone Notes app, which has been beneficial, of course, but I'm not sure how I feel about like my deepest, darkest feelings being downloaded on the iCloud. So if something happens and I just have a lot to say about it, just put it into words. And I feel like we all do this already, but it may not be in the most healthy way. Most people do this in the form of ranting, and ranting to their friends. What this does, it just allows me to rant to myself and keep it personal in this little book where it's not gonna hurt anyone. But I feel like a lot of us have the habit of ranting to our friends and stuff, where now that is not private. Now your feelings are out to someone else. And yes, it's important to sometimes, you know, share it with someone else to have that external support. But sometimes I think we just have the urge to get it out of our system somehow. And so we just plop it onto someone else. And that might not always be the healthiest for them. And then sometimes we tend to regret telling people about it. So this is really foolproof for just getting those feelings down, getting them out of your system, but doing it in a healthy way where you can keep some privacy. I also use it for that personal poetry that I talked about a little earlier. As a creative person, expressing my feelings artistically can have a really big impact on how I'm feeling, and, you know, turning it into something beautiful like poetry out of a kind of not beautiful feeling, I find to be really healing. I also recently did a tarot spread, and I just decided to journal about it. It was a 13 card spread, so it was larger. But, you know, some of those cards were really resonating with me and were really enlightening. So I really wanted to journal about it and sort of, you know, like get those thoughts out there. So that is my brain dump journal. All right, so that was my entire journal collection as of right now. I expect it to grow a lot. But journaling has definitely been a practice that has changed my life for the better. If it's a practice you're interested in trying, I cannot tell you how much that you should just go for it, because it does have the power to really like reshape your life and how you live it. And if it's something you're not interested in all, then, you know, that's fine too. I definitely think it's not for everyone. I would like to know, if you are a journaler, how many journals do you actually own? because I'm at 9 so far and I've been journaling for a little over a year. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe so that you can watch my future videos too. All right, and I think that's everything. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.